I'm still disabled.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay.
Now you should be able to.
Mm-hmm. That's better.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But I will start sharing whenever you kick off, right? You will
Sure.
say a couple of words, I would assume, and talk on the organization. Very good.
Let's wait for 2 more minutes, and then we'll.
Yeah, then I get another glass of water quickly.
Sure, sure, sure.
Hello, Paji. Hello, others. Hello, all. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Prabhjot sir.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Prabhjot. This is Vamshi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Prabhjot.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, Prabhjot.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, everyone. Srikanth here.
Hi, everyone. Vamshi here.
Hi, Vamshi. Let's wait for 1 more minute.
Hey Prabhjot, how are you? Hey Jörg.
Hi.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for finding time for the community. It's great. It's great.
So we are expecting bloggers, we are expecting book writers, we are expecting everyone. All right, so we can kick off. So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where are you located. Welcome to the webinar series where champions talk. And today we have a very, very special guest. And if you're already working in EWM, you probably know him. So please welcome Jörg Michaelis. Hi, Jörg. Welcome to our community as well as the talk show. Thank you very much for taking out time.
Thank you very much, and warm welcome here from Germany. Friday evening, and happy to share some insights with you. Mm-hmm. I will start my screen, and then we give it a start. So tell me if you see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Now you would see my calendar, right? So, 1 second. Now, everything visible?
Yes, absolutely. All set.
Good, perfect. So thank you, everybody. And thanks for joining. And at first, a big thanks for organizing this. And I'm a big fan of your community. Really follow all your posts. And I hope so you also sometimes follow our posts to get some news and insights and updates around SAP EWM. So my name is Jörg Michaelis. I am working in SAP standard development, and my role is the so-called chief product owner. So I'm the one, of course, I'm not alone with my team. to decide on priorities, future roadmaps, and topics we want to tackle. With me today, and who is very active helping me publicating and creating content here on LinkedIn, is George. He is a product communication specialist in my team. And I wanted to give you a chance to also introduce you to George. So he will share the content and also reply to your questions later on. And let's give it a start. So I was free to pick a topic. And at this point in time of the year, it's a very good chance to talk about the next release of EWM, which is S/4HANA 2021. Why is it a good time? Because we finished more or less the development, and now we are in the so-called phase of testing the solution. Then we do translation, accessibility tests, product scanning, and so on and so forth, before we then publish. So this is my topic for today. What's next in the 2021 release? Very important for today. This is, I believe, the most shown slide of SAP, the disclaimer. Of course, we have topics, and I can tell you everything is developed, what I'm talking here, but you always can have deviations, test doesn't go through, whatever. Typically, it's not the case, but don't buy software based on expected roadmaps. So that's the message of the slide. And with this, I've done my legal obligations. So we talk about the 2021 release. For you, it is important. The planned release date is October 13th. We have today screenshots, flows. Of course, sometimes a screen, a name of a button or whatever can change, but the scope is more or less ready. Before we go to the release 2021, I'd want to take you a little bit back in time on the Feature Pack 1 release. Why? Because we had started some foundational work in this release, which we are about to continue in this release. And therefore, give me a couple of minutes to start with the Feature Pack 1 of 2020. This was released this year on February 24th. So 2020 release, last year October, Feature Pack 1, this year February. We had a very good motivation to deploy in a feature package. And I hope there are some interesting topics for you as well. So let's start with some examples. The first thing, EWM is now part of the MyGo transaction. You know, we moved EWM 2016, 2017 into S4, and in many areas, it still feels a little bit not fully embedded. And I think they have a little bit homework to do. And this is one step. EWM is part of MyGo. Why? We believe there are hundreds of warehouses, thousands of warehouses. Some have a huge complexity. And you need yard management. You have ASNs. And some warehouses, they just have a receiving office, 3-5 people working in that warehouse. They don't need yards. They don't need ASNs. They have one transaction, which they used for years, MyGo. And what you can see here, in an embedded EWM, which is the EWM on the S/4HANA client, on the same client you run finance, material management, purchasing. We offer you to post goods received into an EWM storage location. So you can see there's a new tab, warehouse management. We gave it a business term, not a product term. And you can see obviously by the field lengths that these are EWM fields. You can still continue with your inbound deliveries. We check the settings of your purchase order to allow this kind of goods received or not. And whenever you post a goods received, the system does the following. It posts an MM document, 101, and it posts a stock into the EWM warehouse. On the bin, you specify here. There's customizing to propose it. You can override. And what else we do? On this area, you can see creation of a handling unit. So during goods receipt, you can tell the system, this product, these 20 eaches is delivered in 1 euro pallet. You can enter it manually, but you can also use the pack instruction, the pack specification, or the package builder to get a proposal how it's being packed. So something new. Why the pack instruction? We enabled EWM to read different package master data. So depending on your customizing, different set of master data can be used. And what else is Migo? You can run EWM stock, non-EWM stock, and even non-stock items in one transaction. So simplified way of starting into an EWM. What is not supported yet is QM, but this is on the roadmap. We plan this early next year. What else was part of feature pack 1? We shipped a new TM EWM integration. We call it advanced shipping and receiving because it has advanced processes. I come to this in a minute. But what is really new? We orchestrated the flow between TM and EWM in a new way, in a leaner way. And what you see on the graphic, there's transportation management based on freight units coming from purchase orders, sales orders, whatever, creating a transportation plan, and then bundling everything into a freight order, which is the representation of your truck. And if you remember the classic integration, out of the freight order, we create a transportation unit. But our belief is we should do it more simplified. Why replicating something if we can access the freight order directly? And this is what we do. There is one representation of the truck, the freight order. And the freight order is linked to the deliveries. Whenever EWM receives and picks, we send an update to the freight order. We give you one object, the freight order, but we give you 2 UIs. One for the warehouse clerk to say, this is to a dock to a door, I want to post a goods receipt. And one for the transportation planner to do scheduling, routing, subcontracting, whatever. One object, 2 different personas we work on. So the question, where is the TU? Don't worry, it's still there. You can use it. But this is a new scenario. So you actively have to switch it on, and then you can use it. Feature pack 1 is the start release. What was our motivation? Reduce redundancy. Whenever you have redundant objects, it's costly. Not only for us, but also, we believe also for our customers. Robust change management. I mentioned harmonized data, one UI with the same experience of the object behind. And of course, we could have done this in a different way. We wanted to enable new logistics processes which were difficult to handle before. And those are our motivations. Multi-pack, multi-pick, multi-drop. One single truck, physical truck, being loaded and unloaded at multiple warehouses. Well, you would say, you could do it already. That's right. But in every warehouse, you had a single different dedicated transportation unit. And now we have one freight order with stops. And based on the stop, we do this loading and unloading activity. But the whole flow is managed in one single object. Cross-warehouse loading. The example is we got from a customer. The truck is loaded from an EWM warehouse. Perfect, we could do this. But sometimes there is goods coming from an IM managed warehouse or even from 2 different EWM warehouses on the same yard. And this is also enabled. So you can completely mix EWM, non-EWM warehouses in a single truck. And now we need a deep dive into TM, which is not planned for today. Easier integration with business partners. Why this? We introduced a complete new object. It's called the consignment. The consignment is a middle between a truck, a consignment, which is bundling multiple deliveries going from the same location to the same destination. That's the consignment. And the consignment is the term being used in communication that represents the EDI standard. And we built this together with a German automotive customer. So really, we had a co-innovation on this, and we get very good feedback that now in SAP, the first time ever, we have the consignment as a business object. And we can have an own session with TM, how to build a consignment, how to report, and how to do the communication. So all this complete built into a new solution. It's a start release. We are not at the end of the story. We are continuing, and I will come to this in a minute in the 2020. Let's close the feature pack 1. Our headlines in the feature pack 1, integration. Integration is all about between SAP applications or between SAP products. I mentioned the Migo. What we else did is we did some enhancements to GTS. Customer told us, well, if you change a delivery date, there could be a risk that based on the new delivery date, you run out of the checks. And so on and so forth. So we rounded up the solutions in EWM as well as GTS. In 2018, we introduced a new simplified Kanban flow without any delivery on the embedded. With this, we have further roundup, especially in the reversals, when you work with consignment stock, with serial numbers, and the whole mix of it. We continued this, and I think now we have a really flow, and we enabled non-EWM PSA, so very simple Kanban flow. In the 2020 release, QM introduced a new object, the so-called defect. A defect, I always call it a ticket. The production worker says something's wrong with the material, but he will not be the person solving it. We introduced the integration, now we enhanced it. So you can navigate into a UI5 app and view the stocks in EWM. You can make a stock decision on this and so on and so forth, or you can transfer the defect into a queue notification. And then something what we hear from many projects, early update to LE deliveries. In case you make a quantity change in EWM, we send an update to LE. Migration is about migrating an EWM 9.5 to a decentral EWM and some feature parity topics. So what we couldn't do when well is immediate batch replication. Before this, we need a job. And now you can do some configuration that any batch which is created in ERP is replicated to S/4HANA EWM immediately. And most important, we did a downport to EHP3 because we know we have several customers starting an EWM project on the S/4HANA stack, but they are still on a very old ECC stack with their ERP, and therefore the downport. The other topic, be able to create a local batch in EWM, was always possible on the SCM EWM because it's the SCM batch. And now we also enabled this. We heard this especially from retail customers. And we enhanced our migration objects to migrate into EWM your master data, your settings from your 9.5. I introduced shipping and receiving, and every release has some simplification, miscellaneous topics, where we get feedback from partners, from customers, and try to put it as part of the release. RF screens with touch enablement. What does this mean? In some RF devices, you don't have function keys. And if you don't have a function key, you do everything on your touch. But you might know that some of our function keys like clear, back, there is no function button on the screen. So how can you use a touch if there's no button? And this is now enabled. There is a certain setting that you can show those standard navigation buttons on the screen. And with the customizing, you can determine where you want to position them. Vendor consignment stock in production. Customers told us when you work with consignment stock and bring it to the line, please transfer it to own stock because the ownership changes, even you have not started the production. So now we have a new setting on the storage type, a new background report where you can, another use case, after 30 days, you want to post vendor stock to your own stock. Extensibility, that's the first time we introduced extensibility. Well, don't misunderstand me. Key user extensibility. So there is a Fiori app in S4. With the Fiori app, you can extend fields to business applications. Many applications are far beyond us. We started with the product master. You can define an own field on your warehouse or on your storage type. You generate it, and it's automatically populated. You will see the fields in the SCM MAD1 transaction without writing a single line of code. And another one, mass change of pack specs. This was also part of this release. That's the feature pack 1. So it was a busy time already. 2021. Planned to be shipped on October 13th. You saw in the feature pack, we had integration, migration, miscellaneous. I want to take you through the presentation according some headlines. We could also do it in a different flow, but this is quite useful to present for presentation. Integration, again, integrate to other SAP modules, products. Usability, that's enhancements and new Fiori apps. Migration is all about migration tools from a 9.5 system. Innovations, well, I would also say that Migo is an innovation or something else. But these are maybe technical things we have done different. You will see. Automotive, I just mentioned that we have a huge customer-driven co-innovation project these days at SAP with an automotive customer. Here you can find some enhancements. And I think we have some cool things in our miscellaneous as well. So these are the headlines. I'll take you through. Integration. I can tell you, I believe we have to do more. And I think you can expect more from SAP. I was working as a consultant, and fixing integration topics in a project is always costly, difficult. And my personal belief, we have to provide integration out of the box. There will be always a strategy, a picking dialogue, a packing screen, whatever, where your creativity, your enhancement is necessary. But the main integration should come from SAP. We invest in integration. I can tell you it's taking the most part from our development capacity. Let's take a look. The first topic, plant maintenance integration. Plant maintenance is an application in S4 to plan maintenance and execute maintenance for your assets. And what we have done here together with the colleagues of plant maintenance, material management and delivery to make an integration flow for EWM. You have the one main flow is you start from a plant maintenance order. There's a new option. You can specify, we call it a recipient location. That's a new configuration option. You can freely define your locations based on your plant. And we take this recipient location from PM into EWM, and we can determine your staging area based on this. So what we have done, the plant maintenance order creates a reservation. Out of this, there's a famous transactions, MB26, which creates deliveries and sends these over to EWM. With the deliveries, we get new identification, plant maintenance order, reservation number, and others. And these objects can be used in EWM to find your outbound deliveries. Picking, packing, staging, loading, all same as you know it. What else? We enhanced the MM transaction. Two things we got. If the product is batch managed, you don't want to create the batch or specify the batch in the moment you inform the warehouse. You don't want to specify the seal number. So this is all enhanced. And what else? One more topic. You can also do an unplanned goods issue in the so-called @GI transaction, now also with a reference to a plant maintenance order. So if the product was not planned in your bill of material, you can do the ad hoc goods issue. You can use the flow for plant maintenance related flows or for manual reservations. So both designed in this way. The next topic, use package builder API in EWM processes. I started my presentation with the MIGO or MIGO. MIGO, you can now use pack spec, pack instruction, pack builder. Why this? In 2020, we introduced a new layer. This is the yellow one. We call it the Unified Package Builder API. It's an internal layer in SAP, and there's customizing. In 2020, this was built, and TM can access the layer, and based on the customizing in that layer, you can specify which master data objects you want to reach. This is 2020. In Feature Pack 1, we started with the first transaction with the MIGO. We continue this journey, and now we enabled RF receiving from production. Why this? What is the motivation? A customer has a production line, and maybe at some lines they do a pre-planning of handling units, and they can only use today the pack instruction because this was already available in ERP. And just because they introduce a new warehouse, an EWM warehouse, they want to continue with their master data. Therefore, we give you the flexibility to use a different master data. RF receiving from production. So maybe in some parts of your production, you use pre-planning with only pack instruction. And now maybe you do a receiving and do a different, cannot use pre-planning. We can also now use this. In packing, outbound packing, we can read alternatives. Inbound, deconsolidation. And what is also new, we enable you to use alternatives. For example, the system is telling you, take 100 pieces into a Euro pallet. And the person says, I don't have any Euro pallets at hand. Is there any alternative? And then you can, with a navigation, or there's a function key built in RF, as well as the pack screen, we show there's an alternative pack instruction, an alternative pack specification. We will continue this journey with more processes in the next releases. So this was what we could do in the 2021. Of course, we will continue with and step by step enable additional EWM processes. QM. QM is pretty famous in our integration story. I'm doing the job here for 8 years, and I can tell you in every release, we work on improving, enhancing our QM integration. This was feedback from customers. What you do, you use EWM, whether it's embedded or decentral, doesn't really matter. And you create an inspection lot in EAP with the interface. And all the master data is in QM. And therefore, QM calculates the sample size. So in this example, 3 pallets delivered, inspection lot created, and they calculate, okay, please take 3 eaches as a sample. This sample size was always visible as a field when the inspection lot informed EWM. But we never did automatic logistics action. And what we do now, we split the sample size, we split the stock. In the example here, 2 pallets go to the final put away. 1 pallet goes to the quality inspection. Why 1 pallet? Because it looks like there's 4. There is customizing and configuration that you can introduce a rounding. Maybe in some industries, you don't want to open and break a pallet, so you round up to a full handling unit. Of course, you get bodies, and whenever this decision is ready, we can do a final put away back to the additional one. So logistical tracking, splitting of samples. That's what we did. Since a couple of releases, we do, I think since 7.0, we built in production integration. With 9.2, we introduced the so-called production material request. Based on the production material request, we shipped function modules and RFC enabled those that you can connect an MES system. And we have end-to-end scenarios together with SAP ME. Now with this release, we enhanced this to the next level. This is a co-innovation together with our colleagues from DMC, Digital Manufacturing Cloud. Let me take you through the flow. You create your production order in S4. It's being replicated to DMC. And whenever you trigger the staging, we are replicating it as of today into an EWM, whether it's embedded or not, no difference. What is new? Production lines get more and more autonomous. MES systems do more and more scheduling by sensors, by events. So the motivation was enable the MES system to trigger the staging. We introduced a new master data, and this is depending on your product and production supply area. The master data is called Mes Driven Staging. So we flag the product and say, for this product, we expect MES is doing the staging trigger. So not a warehouse worker should do it, not touch it. So now what is happening? A new interface, web service. We inform DMC, these pieces, your turn. Now, based on capacity, whatever, they send us a staging request. New web service interface. The staging request is being created in EWM. Like you can compare it like an outbound delivery without posting goods issue, or a stock transfer request. With this transfer request, you can use wave management like you do it today. You can also create the task manually, and we also give you a report which has, for example, an option based on the capacity on your PSA. It always runs and only creates when there is enough capacity. Whenever we create the task and confirm it, we send an update back to DMC. Processing is started. So a new level of production integration. You might have heard SAP is heavily investing into Industry 4. We call it Industry 4.now. several enhancements, smart sensing. You will see updates in the next quarters here on RFID, on Kanban, and so on. And this is the integration with EWM. And we will continue the advanced shipping and receiving. Remember, freight order only, no more use in transportation units. This slide is a little bit special because you could see some topics I had to add a feature pack. Short before development, we saw we could not deliver it finally as we liked. So, but I think it's important to show that we will continue and where we continue. One scenario, a delivery split triggered from TM. The scenario is you have to ship 20 pallets and your carrier says, sorry, I'm only able to take the 15. So now you want to do a split and take the other remaining 5 on another truck. So the split request comes from TM and not like today in loading, you split it. And we will do it flexible before processing, during processing. So if the handling unit's already on the staging area and even before and during the load. In the outbound, this is in the 2020 release. There is a new option to set the status ready for shipping. Automatically, there is a small customizing and a job which checks, is everything on the staging area, is everything packed depending on your needs, and informs TM this delivery is ready for shipping. We will deliver new RF transactions in the inbound, ready for warehouse. If the customer doesn't want to get every truck to a central gatehouse and to a receiving office, and loading finished with subsequent splits in the background in the RF transactions. We have enhanced our load and unload freight units. That's the EWM transaction based on the object freight order. And here we enhance the messages, we show container items and so on. And finally, GTS checks with the new orchestration. If TM is in the lead, TM will say, this truck, no GTS checks, no customs declaration, we cannot do it. So stop or even prevent warehouse processing. So TM has developed, started here in the 2021, and we set the foundation in the feature pack 1. We will then finally bring it to market. Migration. You might know that there is no upgrade if you come from an EWM 9.5 to a decentralized EWM on S/4HANA. And it is the customer needs to switch. We have a guide. Maybe we should add the note to this here. Our migration guide tells you the steps, and you can take over your customizing. You can take over your code, all fine. And with this migration cockpit, which is a cockpit of S/4HANA, we introduced a scenario which is called migration from business suite to decentral EWM. We started in 2019, 2020 with products, bins, bin sortings, fixed bin stocks. And in 2020 and feature pack 1, we enhanced this migration cockpit. You can see resources, work center settings, production settings, and so on and so forth. And in 2021, you can also expect another wave of migration objects. So speed up, accelerate the migration to a decentral EWM on S4. When we introduced decentral EWM on S4, we have created a so-called release information and restriction node. And this is about to tell everybody where are the differences and where are things not supported today. We are proactively want to inform everybody. Of course, as a product owner, you don't like these notes, but I'm rather a fan of transparency instead of having you running into a test with a failure and then SAP comes back and says, sorry, not supported. And what we said clearly from the first release, when we released in end of 2019, we cannot connect multiple ERP systems with non-harmonized products. So what is the scenario? You run EWM in one warehouse. You have stock from different ERPs. And the product master is not harmonized. So in this simple example, system one, it's an iPhone. The same product, 47, is a laptop. And on this, it's a screen. So in SCM EWM, this was possible. And with the 2021, we will enable EWM to communicate with connected systems via, it is called the so-called UKMS mapping. That's part of the master data framework. It's called unified key mapping. And in the background, and I made it simplified, it tells, well, in this system, I work with this product, but if I communicate to this system, then please use this product. What you will get from us is a consulting note with the release of the product, how to write the data, because we believe many customers are using the iDoc as they use still ERP systems. And we then will close the story in 2021 for batch related and so on. And we will also do a direct creation of warehouse products whenever you replicate a new product that you can automatically create. So the story is not finalized, but I think we are on the last mile closing the feature differences. Automotive, we have a focus on automotive manufacturing. In the 2019, you might have realized we have the so-called distribution equipment, tugger trains. We have repetitive manufacturing. We have backflush postings. And in 2020, we introduced Jit Supply to production. In the beginning of this year, we introduced an industry solution, which is called SAP Manufacturing Logistics. And this industry solution is building on top what EWM has delivered. It is giving you a whole tugger train solution. If it's giving you a shuttle solution, if you have one warehouse and the truck drives between storage types. Special topic, but at some automotive customers being used, and much more. In the EWM standard in 2021, we enhance the Jit supply to production. The Jit is an object of automotive. But in S4, there is no more industry switch. So it's there, you can use it. And the Jit call says, at this point in time, at this line, I need this product. And whenever they create the Jit call, synchronously, we create a stock transfer request in EWM. And whenever you start your picking, we update the Jit call so they are aware stock is on its way. From picking to truck, route train building to final loading and drop. This was 2020. In 2021, we enabled this scenario that you can run your production supply area with an inventory managed location. 2020, the PSA is a bin in EWM and the stock stays there till consumption. Now you can also run it with non-EWM storage location. Just important, this scenario only works today embedded. We will check in the future how to bring it to a decentral. Pick denial. So pick denial, build denial, this is now fully built in with options how to take it out from a relay, from the wave, assign it to another wave, and so on. So the exception handling was rounded up, and there's a new alerting in the Jit core. This is the app from the Jit colleagues, and you can see with the alert, because they do a stock check and they could get the messages of EWM, whether there's enough stock or not enough stock, and so on and so forth. And in the warehouse monitor, we introduced a new node, the Jit handling unit under the Jit node, so that you can see in which handling units they have picked. And the last special topic on automotive, I have to say this is really special. I have never heard it before. Support physical inventory at the production line. Well, take the following use case. There are 10 steering wheels at the production line. That's what the system thinks. In reality, 3 steering wheels have been assembled into the car. But why are they still on stock? Because the car has not passed the communication point, which triggers the backflash. It sounds special, and it is, but what have we introduced? We have a mechanism to influence the calculated stock. So again, the system believes it's 10. The counter says it's 7. And we give you a body example which reads the JIT codes according to a reference, which is entered in your counting. And based on the reference, it says, okay, there will be 3 not being posted yet. So it looks like there will be 10 minus the 3, 7. And we do it in consumption, replenishment, and inbound, again, especially for automotive. But again, everybody can use it if you switch on your physical inventory reference-based counting. On the usability side of the house, to be honest, I want more. I think we have to do more, but some updates here on this side. We introduced in 2019, 18, I forgot, a Fiori app to count physical inventory documents. We built this for our public cloud solution because we didn't want to introduce the classic GUIs. Of course, it's there in on-premise. What was missing is serial number managed products. And this is now enabled in the app with single entering of serial numbers and ranges for consecutive numbers. We have a new app, and this app will be part of a future bigger app. Display warehouse documents, so all kind of receipt and goods issue and consumption postings. And it will be part of a managed stock app very soon, where we want to show stock, then show who posted, be able to cancel, be able to trigger consumptions, reversals, whatever. This is just the foundation. We will bring it to a much bigger app in the future. To our outbound and inbound delivery app, we did an enhancement. We have a simple packing option in the inbound. Easy to build handling units, but some customers want to have nested handling units or serial numbers and handling unit attributes, you name it. So we allow a navigation from our inbound and outbound app into these pack screen, and here all the options are available, as you know. And we allow the app to change weights and volumes on line level in case your master data is not perfect, so you can update this. We will put more scope into this very soon. And another part on the usability side, we introduced in 2019 these Kpi Overview Screen with some examples. Then we introduced the list view in some KPIs, you navigate to the Fiori app. In some others, we only provide a list view. And now you can navigate from the list to the Fiori app. So you select the line, there is a navigation button on the lower right, and then the system navigates into the Fiori app. And this example is an outbound delivery process. So here you can see which deliveries need to be shipped at whatever, 10 p.m. And then you can navigate accordingly. Innovations. We enhanced our transaction stock consolidation. We introduced this in 2019. And we get really good feedback. Stock consolidation, if you have partial stocks, partial pallets, partial boxes all over your warehouse, and you want to build full units, you can use the app. It will make proposals that you can free up bins. Customers liked it and they said, wow, what about batches? Yeah, you can consolidate also batches. Yeah, but we want to consolidate batches if the expiration date is the same. Oh, okay, that's an interesting story, but the batch numbers are different. Yeah, that's okay. So this was introduced in 2019, consolidate different batch numbers with the same expiration date or same goods receipt date or same vendor batch. And what's coming now? I hope we can then close this. If the tolerance is fulfilled, so maybe this expiration date is not the same, but just 2 days apart. For some customers, this is okay. I mean, during picking, you still pick the right batch, and we don't merge batch, but we put 2 different batches on the one bin to free up space. In 2020, we introduced attachments. You can attach a picture to your EWM inbound, outbound, or transportation unit. In this release, we give you the option to attach documents to your handling units. So maybe you pack a carton, before you close it, you can take a picture. You can do it in the monitor to view those. And you can use our Fiori app's inbound and outbound processing to navigate into the handling units. It looks like this. And from there, you get these typical Fiori attachment options to introduce your attachments. And we will give you a new CDS analytical view for storage bin utilization. This is our vision. We want to deliver some content into SAP Analytics Cloud and give you an overview like how utilized is your warehouse by storage type, by section, whatever. So in the 2021, you get the CDS view. So you could start your analytics already. We want to invest into this SAC with, of course, more than a bin utilization a little bit later. Oops, now my slide switched. Okay. And on innovations, there is, we enhanced our remote APIs. So the APIs, you can see them under the S/4HANA Cloud, but we also bring them into the on-premise. The functionality is not fully covering the final scope yet, but we get there step by step. With the API, you can now change inbound deliveries, post goods receipt, change quantities, assign a different carrier. We always had from the beginning in 2019 APIs to read, confirm a warehouse task. Now you can create the warehouse task. And we enhanced the API for bins. Why do we do this? Because we believe that's the future way enhancing the product, building apps on the cloud platform, building apps on your devices, and then talk with the backend via remote APIs. Miscellaneous. I hope you're all still awake. It's late for you, but there are still some highlights. Let's take a look on RF. What we introduced with 2021, what we plan to introduce, we will enhance the scan field lengths in RF. Currently, we have 50 digits, and in some industries, this is not enough. There is a node how to modify, and you have to modify. But we would like that you don't need to modify the system. So we enhance the field lengths, 255, that you can scan data matrix GS1. We give you new bodies for barcode usage and decoding that you can avoid modification. We give you new bodies for the complete RF framework. You can see validation, subscreens, function code profiles, and so on. The main motivation, avoid modification. On the communication side of the house, communicating with an ERP or with deliveries, we had a default setting in S4, avoid batch splits. Avoid batch split means the quantity requested is 10. You pick one batch with 10. And what we do, we don't create a batch split item, but we update the batch in the main item. Our assumption that's leaner. But the feedback we got from customers, they built reports, forms, custom code based on the batch split item information in the outbound delivery. So they really asked us, can you open the batch split item again? Because all our ECC is based on this logic. And now the new configuration will be delivered. Then what is new end-to-end in S/4HANA? Currently, you have to create a lot of business partners to represent a different ship to whatever. S/4HANA will be enabled to work with multiple addresses for a business partner, even with time dependency. So maybe they change their warehouse and they say, please, from there, deliver to this address. And this is a central enhancement in the business partner. And of course, we enabled EWM processes. We enabled the labels that these new business partner settings are used. On the migration tool, this is the stock upload. We give you the option to load stock with specified external values in case you have mixed valuation. You cannot just upload the quantity because the value depends on the batch. And therefore, the migration file, you can specify an external value. On the monitor side of the house, the exception node is enhanced to see who changed and when changed, or who resolved the exception. We provide change logs in the warehouse product node on warehouse and storage type level. New monitor methods to perform postings for serial numbers. In 2018, we introduced some simple monitor methods to do a posting change. Of course, there is the SCWM post, but this is really powerful and sometimes too many options. And with the monitor methods, you can just change the stock type or the ownership or a different batch. For every use case, a different method. And if you don't like them, hide them for your users. And now we provided one more option for a stock which is managed in serial numbers. You can list the serial numbers, say these 5 serial numbers, I will put them into scrap stock. And last but not least on the monitor, we introduced a new node to monitor SOAP messages. Our motivation in this release, we introduced SOAP messages for the MES integration, and now we need to monitor them. And you can do it in the warehouse monitor, and you can navigate into the corresponding backend transaction. I think it's called SXMB Money, something like this. And of course, we will, in this release, we only provide the MES message, but we will enable it for other MES show-up messages like business partner, products, loading notifications from TM. So we will continue this. A small thing where we got feedback from a customer. They work with very big pick HUs, so many products in a pick HU. And what the system does, whenever you put another product into the pick HU, it reads the material master again. And we had a so-called CDS redirect view when we moved into S4, and now we can make a direct access to the MARAM fields and MARA fields, because the advantage here, this is buffered, and it has a significant improvement here, especially for high volume retail customers. There's, of course, always something on performance. This was a customer feedback, and this was a task to do. And I would like to close with 3 more minutes on RF. And what is new in RF, thanks to our basis colleagues, there will be a new service. It is called EWM MOP GUI. You know, there's a web GUI. I mean, most of you, I would assume you work with a SAP GUI, but the SAP GUI is not on your mobile device. And you also know that you can use an SAP S4 system just with a GUI. Sorry, just with a web browser, sorry. And the one big drawback is, if you see it like here, always on the header line, there's an SAP logo and the system information, and on the footer line is something about a copyright. And if you bring this to an RF screen, you're pretty disturbed that you waste a lot of space. And therefore, the colleagues built a different MOP GUI version, which eliminates these header and footer information. And I mean, it's the same RF framework. The benefit, you don't need an HTML template generation, but it's still there. If you use the other ITS service, all good. And the nice thing, if you use this on the web GUI, so on the browser, you have the same theming. So you know that there's a dark mode, for example. So this is all the same look and feel. It is not Fiori, make it very clear, but it's a simplified version. Again, we will not take ITS mobile away. It is there. It's a strategic part of the product of S4HANA. There were some rumors that it's not there anymore, but it's there. It's part of S4. With this option, there's a new service, MOP GUI, where you don't need this. The idea is to use SAP screen personas to tune your screens, colorful buttons, sizing, logos, whatever. This was the idea. And it has, you still need an industry browser on your device. That's what we believe. And yeah, let's, with this, I'm done. On the 2021 release, you could see we did have a focus on automotive and manufacturing. With this release, we will then be done and focus on other areas in future releases, or more or less done. Integration stays a focus topic. I think this was very clear on the various things we did, and as well as in many other releases. This release had a new scenario like plant maintenance, like manufacturing. And you can also see continued improvements in existing topics. With this, I am done. Thank you for your attention. And if there are any questions.
Thank you, Jörg. So yeah, so we already have a couple of questions. At the time of registration, I specifically asked if they have any question for you. So I got lot many. So, but I have chosen a couple of them. So the first.
Can I see them? Let me. Are they in the chat?
No, they're not in the chat. So I have it with me.
Okay, perfect.
The first question is that where do you see that warehouse automation being integrated with EWM as a easy to use service or through APIs or web services? When do you see this happening?
Oh, well, I mean, you need to distinguish what you have in EWM, and this is now part of the basic license. We have the same IDOCs to integrate with subsystem. This is there, was always there.
Right, yeah.
You can make a direct integration with MFS where you control the complete material flow, also existing. But I agree, we should bring the IDOC to a most modern technology. Putting the IDOC into a web service is part of our roadmap. Hopefully, when you invite me for the 22 release, I can tell you now it's available. Yeah,
sure,
thank
sure.
you. Yeah.
All right. So coming to the next question, when do you see EWM being integrated with AI, ML, RPA, so everything in one small package? Do you see it happening in the near future?
Yes, yeah. Okay. We had a ML day on Tuesday in the house. We have a big ML data science team in SAP. And we have several prototypes. The one thing where we tried is really how to influence slotting. So how can you learn from your master data patterns? We had even a co-innovation with the customer. Give us your data so we can let the system learn. And it needed some iterations, I can tell you. So it's not always a quick win. We came to different master data proposals than they. So then they said, it's not good enough. 70% is not good enough. And at the end, we found out what we didn't include is forecast and volume data. With this, the data quality was one step better. So we stay tuned. We are working on this. Yeah, but we also believe these integration topics we have to solve, because if we get requests and issues in the project, we decided for this right now. Yep. Yeah. But definitely we have to do it. I think we can do it at SAP. We have the technology in the house, so just let's do it.
Sure. That would really be very interesting. So coming to the next question, when do we see EWM GTS and then EWM PM integration coming in the system?
This was one of my first slides. PM is coming with the 2021 release.
Yeah.
If you cannot wait, I can tell you that SAP Consulting has made a consulting solution, and they sell it also to non-SAP Prime projects. Okay. So they did some enhancements, and it's used at 5 plus maybe 10 customers, I don't know. So if you really say, I need it on a lower version, then I would send us a note and we connect you through the colleagues. So it's like a pre-package.
Okay.
But again, we decided to put it in the standard because we hear customer requests from various areas. Yeah.
Okay. Another question here is, do we see low-code or no-code models being implemented in SAP and especially in EWM?
I think we have just acquired a company. I forgot the name. They built, they have a low-code tool for...
I guess it's AppGyver.
AppGyver, right. I haven't seen it, but I'm curious to learn how it works. So it's not yet, I don't have it, but I think that's the future.
Okay.
I think that's the future. I think we came from a history of customizing. That's in our mindset, in our DNA. But I think we have to learn that more and more customizing should be at a power user. Strategies, like not interfaces and things like this. But I think in the future, we have to move more customizing into rules, parameters, whatever, that you can do more on an ad hoc basis without bothering your IT partner, IT team all the time.
And one final question that we have is, do you see a plan of launching iOS or Android-based mobile application for shipping dashboards? Do you see this?
Not shipping dashboards. Here, on the dashboard side, we believe we should use SAP Analytics Cloud. But I've informed you that we have some APIs, remote APIs in the system. And you might know that we have a partnership with Apple at SAP. I don't know how good the camera is here. I can tell you we are working on with some very prominent customers. I don't know how no, the camera doesn't like this. Yeah, you cannot see. But we are working on some apps. There will be a beta in summer and hopefully a first release with some first apps. Really cool stuff. It's more than RF. It's reading OCR. It is reading 10 labels in one shot. There is cool stuff. I'm not saying this is replacing the RF, but there are trials to manage the power of such devices.
Right.
So stay tuned. Invite me.
Sure, definitely. So one final question that I have is, do we see more industry-specific solutions for, especially for dairy farming or probably for different industries? Can we see those?
Well, we have the standard product where we try to aim many industries. Then we have two packages at SAP. The one is manufacturing logistics, which is for manufacturing companies. I would say production, manufacturing, of course, automotive, but can also be non-automotive. And we have a EWM add-on for consumer products. I think the power of SAP and the strengths is our ecosystem. To be honest, I believe without the ecosystem we have, we couldn't have so many great customers, great implementations. I still believe we will tell you in 2022, I want to invest in stock segmentation, which is part of the retail S/4HANA. We will do something maybe 2023 on the corporate serialization. We have project bases or samples out, but here I think we have to close some more. And I don't believe we have for every industry a plug and play solution here. I'm happy to work with my partners and find the right approach.
Okay.
It's really, I would like to quote a partner. I said, yeah, we have to do a new packing screen. And we introduced this in 2018 and said, Jörg, he said, if there would be a golden UI, somebody would have invented this already. So you guys give us samples, give us a starting set, give us something that we understand the philosophy of the system. But logistics is also tailor-made business, and you can make a difference with those things.
Indeed. So for rest of the questions, probably I'll have to send you over email. You can reply to them, and then I can send it back to the person. So thank you very much, and then hopefully with every release, we see you here every time.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for organizing this, and thank you everybody for staying up late and joining us. Please, whenever there's questions, feedback, happy to get your...
Sure. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. And thanks for your time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone. And thanks, Prabhjot. Bye.
Thank you, Prabhjot. Thank you, Jörg.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhjot.
Thanks, Prabhjot.
Prabhjot, can we get this PPT or recording any chance?
We will. Yes.
Yeah, because we want to refer it time to time, you know.
No worries. I will do it.
Thanks, George, for the
We will
presentation.
share it as a PDF. It's okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, George, for the presentation. Thanks, Prabhjot. One quick question, George, about labor management. We seen some customers were asking on the forecasting based on the MRPs and sales orders. Anything we are getting any improvements on the labor management?
I would say not in the next 12 months, but it's a cool topic. I think with the information we have at SAP in all our solutions, APO, IBP, we could do a big step in labor planning. Yeah.
George, I have a small question.
All right.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, I come to know that the BRF Plus will be replaced with PPF. Is that true? How much true is that?
I cannot confirm this. This is new to me.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, George. Thanks, Prabhjot.